Hey everyone, I wanted to show you how to properly put your typeface into the CNC template. So the first thing you're going to find is that the template included in the Google Drive will look something like this. It's an artboard that is 3.5 inches tall by 1.5 inches wide. That's likely not going to be wide enough to accommodate your particular character, but I made it smaller so that we can easily fit it to width as opposed to making it super wide and then having to do the math to constrain it. So the first thing we're going to want to do is put our character into this artboard. So I'm going to hit the type tool, and in this case I already have wiggle set up. This is of course Brooks, but the one I'm using as an example. So you guys are all smart graphic designers. You know how to place your own typeface into Adobe and then use it, so I won't pretend otherwise. But once you have the character in there, regardless of its size, I want you to go in and hit create outlines. And that's going to create an uneditable version, which is fine for our purposes. So with that highlighted, come up here to transform and make sure that you have your height and width proportions constrained. Your height is going to be 3.25 inches. If for whatever reason you're in another unit of measurement, you can always just hit inches right there and it will make it so. So the next thing we'll do is drag that between these guides. Now, like I mentioned, the artboard itself is 3.5 inches tall, but we want our character to be precisely 3.25 tall. That's to accommodate for the router bit in relation to some of the physical guides I have set up on my CNC. So the next thing we need to do is we need to flip this character. Now, letterpress is an offset process, and because of that we need the inverse of it. Similar to heat press, in what we'll be viewing is a stamp of the original. So we have to flip that right now. The easiest way to do it is to go to Object Transform and then Reflect. And you want to reflect it over the vertical axes if you have preview on. You'll see that it just swapped it. That's precisely what we want. The next thing we need to do is expand the artboard to accommodate the full width of this character plus a little side bearing room. So I'm going to hit Option Command P to pull up the document setup. That's the shortcut, and then click on Edit Artboards. And then what I want to do, actually before I do that, I'm going to highlight that character, come up to Transform, figure out what the precise width is. I'm going to highlight it, copy it. Now I'm going to hit Option Command P, Edit Artboards. I'm going to come up here and make sure that this is not constrained. I'm going to paste that in. So that's the same measurement, the precise measurement of our width of character. I'm going to delete that. Hit a plus sign and then type in 0.5. When I hit tab to go over to another box, you'll see that Illustrator did the math for me. I'm going to click out of here by clicking the direct select tool. Now we have an artboard that is precisely our character width plus a 1/4 inch on each side for side bearings. And again, this part is very essential because when I put this on the CNC router, the bit width needs to be 0.25 inches from the next character. Finally, let's say that this is off center a bit. I want this to be centered precisely in the artboard. And if you come up here to the toolbar area and click Align to Artboard, you get these options. You just do Horizontal Align Center. And now we have a character that's precisely 3.25, so we have an 1/8 inch on top and bottom, and because of the aforementioned steps within the artboard setup, we're a 1/4 inch from either side and directly centered. The next thing I want you to do is do File, Save As, and give this name relative to your typeface, and then we're also going to pair it with your last name underscore. So it should be your last name underscore and then your typeface. Needs to be saved as an SVG. I'm going to have you click save. And then all of this should be standard, but in case it's not, I want you to set it as 1.1 and then click OK. Drop that file into the specified hand-in folder on Google Drive and you'll be all set. Thanks, and let me know if you have any questions.